that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
And here we go. BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Brian the Commish. Here we are during Championship Week. I'm joined in the studio by the co-host of the show, the great owner of Born to Run, Walt Mikulski, is here tonight. Walt, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm super excited to do this episode.
Yes, this is why we're here, is to talk about these championship games. Also joining us on the line, we have one of the combatants in this year's championship game, and the team that almost ran the table. Walt, Christian's on there from No Lineup Needed. Christian, how are you?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, Christian.
We're doing good. I know that Christian would perhaps be looking to discuss this a little differently
from a different angle.
Absolutely.
But yes, this is what happens. So, Walt, you want to jump right into this championship game?
Well, let's. I gotta do a little intro here because your text captured it beautifully. That I wasn't gonna watch because you can tell I just got over a cold and I wasn't feeling great. Mm-hmm. So I was like, but you know what? This is interesting. I'm just gonna hang in there, stay and hang and watch.
Yeah.
And then I really didn't think Tony had a chance because if you saw all the stats about the Ravens, they have not given up more than 65 yards to a running back.
Right.
On this season, I forgot. Fantasy running back points was like 10 or something like that. Really, really low.
Yep.
So I'm like, there's just no way. I just couldn't see. I knew it would be close, but I still felt Christian was going to win it. So watching the game and, watching that, Najee was actually, he looked like a guy that was possessed. I mean, I hadn't seen him run that hard all year.
And
right?
I will say, first round draft pick of the Boston Bears, Najee Harris, who was kind of maligned over the year. And how many years have we had a situation where people were like, my first round draft pick was hurt for 10 games, the Christian McCaffrey issues. It didn't matter in this case. He won the championship for the Boston Beans. That's what your first round draft pick was.
So again, just kind of hanging in there. And then of course at the end I'm watching it. I'm like, and I'm going back to the app, back and forth, and saying, "Oh my God!" And I said, and all I'm thinking is Najee's would rush for a touchdown. Not in my mind was I thinking
that extra point,
that he would get it
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So and then that happened, and I'll just say it this way: two things. A lot of people say, "Do you remember where you were when JFK got shot?" I'm never going to forget where I was when I saw that. And two, when I put that out, and then what happened, I felt like the radio announcer when the Hindenburg was coming in, because I like, oh my God, I just can't believe I said that, and I just saw it blow, Christian's championship blow up right in front of me. So, I should say now, the humanity, Christian, I feel really bad for you, but it was an amazing title game, and Christian, it's unfortunately fell into the curse of the top team, which I thought you were going to break it, but it's, but nothing to be ashamed of, sir.
So much going on.
I mean, I was doing the calculus because I just got home, and when I saw your text, and I put the game on, and that was the first play I watched.
Oh, no.
And I was like, because I was like, if he runs, that's 6 points. I still have 2 points. So I just need Justin Tucker to do nothing, right? And I win.
Yeah.
And then he gets that reception. It's actually an 8-point play. I think it was exactly 10 yards, too.
Exactly.
So that's literally what killed me, was the fact that it was a 10-yard reception. And then, if you look at the play, the dude, Kenny Pickett has nowhere to go out of the pocket, and Najee makes the play of his career essentially right there at this point. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. I can't really be, mad that I lost to, a quarterback scramble to a guy who doesn't catch the ball every day.
Yeah.
So that's the way it goes.
That is the way it goes. Christian, you were a class act all year. You were up top. You made the right moves. It was a great ownership year for you, but how many times have we seen that team that has the good regular season, and then it just slips away? And this has got to be the most painful slippage of all time.
Yeah, I
BARFF.
totally agree. I think that we kind of talked before the start of the podcast. The only thing more painful would be a stat correction to then snatch it away from.
Yeah. So I guess we'll talk about that now. So let's before we do that, let's look at the chat. Ant is joining us on the chat. He is clearly celebratory, as well he should be, calling out for Beans. Sox fan 7687 is weighing in with a little concern for Christian, a little bit of wellness check. Doesn't sound all that great, but Christian's with us, and he's going to stay with us because he had a great year.
He did.
And we appreciate everything that No Lineup Needed brought to BARFF this year. Ant is weighing in. Beans were calling their shot all year, so you can't argue.
No question.
I'm just going to say, with the Beans saying that, Tony, I know you were shitting your pants that fucking game. You can't even make that shit up. I know you were. As much as I don't like to talk shit, I know you where you're at. So yeah.
How could he not have been?
I mean, I wasn't even involved in it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we were looking for people to get involved in what we knew would be a great championship game, and the league was on the edge of its seat, and got rewarded for doing so. Unfortunately, No Lineup was on the other end of it, and now we'll come back, circle back around to
right.
This week isn't over yet, and I'm only offering this. This is the last pod of the year, I think, and we are celebrating the Beans' victory, I think, but Week 16 stat corrections are only posted. Week 17 is not over because of what happened Monday night. So I'm going to throw out also from the pod and from BARFF as a league, our prayers are still with oh God, I'm going to screw up his name. Damar.
Yep.
Yeah. So Damar is still in the hospital. They're slowly trying to work him off the vent, and that is very critical. And so everyone's prayers are with Damar, and what we need to understand is that there are possible scenarios that could turn this into a tiebreaker situation where No Lineup Needed beat the Beans twice.
Oh, hey,
and
we
have
got
a guest in the studio.
Whoa, out of nowhere.
There
What's
he
up,
is.
buddy?
Yeah, 100 miles an hour. Yeah, Denver just got home, folks. Sorry, and bolted for the studio. So anyway, if there is a correction that causes this to even out and changes anything, we will be, of course, communicating with everyone ASAP, and we will be doing another pod, as brief as it may be, to discuss that. But for right now, we just have to have that out there. Prayers go out to this player. What a tragedy.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that this celebration is as it should be. The Beans will get another chance to put their name on the trophy, and hard luck for No Lineup. But understand, everyone, it's not really kind of over yet. This is worse than COVID. This is rare circumstances that we haven't had. And so
I actually wanted to ask, what does the tiebreaker come down to? Is it actually like the decimal points at that point? Or
No,
does it come down to
it's feats of strength, Christian. We're going to get you and Tony in a squared circle, lube you boys up, and let you have at it. That's what we're doing.
That'd be quite the dog. I'd be quite the dog that fight.
Yep.
We would definitely be doing another episode. There's no doubt, 100%. So that could be to come. But I mean, what are the odds of that? We haven't really had games that have had stat corrections.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried about.
Same
that,
here,
so.
and I guess I would ask you, since Tony probably already had his victory parade, can we still take it away from him?
See, I would be devastated. It's just weird. Like we haven't seen that.
No.
Yeah. So we'll see. Right now, the Beans. What a year.
Yeah, I know. And when we do our final season grades, I think it'll kind of reflect the kind of year that the Beans had.
Yeah, I mean, so we had an amazing finish, and we have the advantage of having Christian on the line. And so, Christian, you've talked about your feelings on the game, that you felt that Ant should be nervous, and I felt Ant should be nervous too. The whole tone of last week's podcast, text thread, everything was Tony, I think was the theme.
Oh, yeah.
Tony, you're in trouble. There was no quarterback. There was just a dire situation. And I feel like we walked out of the studio last week pretty much thinking that no lineup had it in the bag. Christian, were you feeling that way when we had John, and then this game gets played and it's looking good for you.
Oh, definitely.
Until about 11 o'clock on Sunday night.
Exactly.
So tell us about your thoughts going through this game.
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty confident. I mean, it wasn't just like the no quarterback. Like, I think like he had tough matchups across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the thing that I was like surprised at, I think, is that like the teams that usually played tough, like didn't really seem to. Like, I mean, I think the big one was like San Francisco.
Oh, God,
like,
yes.
San Francisco was like Swiss cheese that day. Yep. And like you're talking about a team that usually like shuts down every main player of a team, and then Devontae Adams goes up for like 30 points.
36, Christian, more than double what was projected.
Right, that's crazy.
Yeah, and with Gardner Minshew, you have New Orleans playing like the best defense of their entire lives the first half, and then giving up absolute bombs in the second. Like it's like sort of like I was sitting there, sort of like, well, that's like how it is. But my team was staying with them, and I don't know. It just seems like I don't want to say I didn't make any tactical decisions or errors this week. I think maybe Algiers for Montgomery would probably be the only one I would consider.
I was going to bring that up.
But I mean, I don't think starting Garrett Wilson was wrong, even if I got less points. I think
I agree.
Yeah,
them being in a near playoff position scenario with like their best quarterback back, I think that's a must start. So, I mean, it's 1 point. It could be like an extra reception or an extra 5-yard dump off pass that was missed. So I don't really feel that broken up. I'm not gonna lie about it. It's sort of like if someone did one thing better, I would have won, or if he did one thing worse, or if Mahomes didn't get picked off, which happened in the end zone. So there's a lot of scenarios I can run through, but I'm like I'm not like too torn up about it. If it's like one player that like I put in that like zeroed out and that's the reason I lost, maybe I would be. But I have to give my hats to the Beans for making the right decisions.
The Beans made the right decisions. I gave Sodi Pantloads, going back to the Algier pickup and bench, I gave Pantloads a little bit of guff for their that was their trend over the last 3-4 weeks of the season, was to pick up a guy, bench him, and then he did really well.
Right.
And that happened to you with the Algier pickup. I don't know how Algier versus Montgomery this week with these matchups.
That's what I mean.
What are you doing
against Detroit? And Montgomery's always done well against Detroit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the right decision. That just didn't work out.
It's tough. And and again, when you see Najee Harris get 21, and like two of the Baltimore, I think they were the third best run defense in the NFL, and San Francisco #1 defense overall. Those two gave up the most points to the players. It's insane.
Yeah, and that final pass also.
Yeah, yep.
That ball
that was
went
unbelievable.
Exactly where it needed to go.
It sure did.
Was a great throw, great catch.
Yep.
That's just unbelievable drama. It just someone has to be on the bad end of it.
Yep. It's the curse of the first place, Christian.
It was an unfortunate one, to say the least. And like another one, Gardner Minshew, AJ Brown's like 70-yard touchdown when the defensive back tripped. I'm like, wow, so that's how it's going to be. That's the type of game I'm playing right now. Yeah. So it's like, it seems like everything went right, but, that's just, the way it goes sometimes.
It does, yep. So we have our new title winner. Let's go back a month, Walt. What I'll call the no title group. It looked good.
It looked stacked.
Boy, did it look good. The Whopper Moppers were slaughtering people. Christian was batting people around like a
Tyler snuck in.
Tyler had a chance there, and it was like it's never looked so good. And yet the former champs still hold on, and now Ant is in the multi-champ.
I mean, look at his attitude. Laissez-faire, calm demeanor. Yep. He was full of confidence. So, hey, let's say it with me loud and proud.
And Ant now weighs in with Tua Tagovailoa is a BARFF champion, and technically you cannot argue.
Even though I think he started on one game when he had to.
He did not get a lot of playing time.
He did not get a lot of playing time.
Say that, but he did start, and he did pick up some crucial points for the Beans. and this just has to be a great feeling for Boston Beans. Well earned.
Agreed.
They came out of their draft and they were happy with where they were, and they made the right moves. Christian made the right moves. Ant had one more thing go, and there it is. So congratulations to the Beans. You're our new champs. You'll be getting your name written on the golden toilet seat by you, and you get that year with the prize, which is it's the greatest prize in all of sports.
Yeah,
and I'm jealous.
I hate to see it leave my house.
Jealous,
unfortunately.
Jealous. Yep. So let's talk about final season
All right.
grades.
I've been looking forward to this. So I spent some time on this. So instead of my normal biased grades, I actually used, basically 4, I'll call them data points to size it up.
Okay.
And, the one thing I'll say is when I did this, BARFF is a results-oriented league, right?
It is.
It's where you finish and what you do, and there's no participation trophies, I'll say. But, however, looking at the grades, nobody failed. And the reason I say that is, time and time again, no matter where teams are, the participation level is amazing. Yes. Nobody quits.
It's unbelievable.
It is. Yeah. So that alone is what makes the league such a good league, and what makes, when you win a championship, you feel like you really earned it, because there's no layups. Everybody's coming after you. Everybody's trying to do whatever they can to get a win.
I think we had a waiver pickup from a consolation ladder team, to which I went, like, that's, to me, that's like, no, but it was fine, and it worked out. But that just shows, like people just want to put the best team on the field every week, and that's what we love about this league. We love it.
So, with that being said, I worked from of course, the bottom up. So, I'm going to start with the news. So, the news, right? That's the first thing. They drafted from the 8th spot, and they finished 10th. So, that's not good.
It's not great.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. They had the 10th, I guess, they finished 10th in points for.
Right.
Not good either.
Right. Yeah, they had definite power outage in Huey Lewis
Correct.
lands. Yep.
28 moves, which says active owner for sure.
Always.
Right. Now, here's where I get a little critical. I was looking at, and this you'll hear even for me, where did they pick their first quarterback? Round 10, and it was Trey Lance. I think this year we found out that was not a formula for victory.
That's a painful pick. Again, this is coming from an owner, not myself personally, that had many painful picks well before the 10th round.
Yep.
But yeah, that one hurts. Yeah.
Right. And then, so on the plus side, the injuries, made a bold move, getting up.
Got Cooper Kupp, the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football at the time of the trade.
Exactly.
Gets hurt. What happens?
Right.
He gets hurt.
And then Breece Hall, who was coming on.
Right.
So those hurt. So overall, I give a C, if you don't mind.
All right.
A C grade.
News.
And, and I was really, it was a good season, but closing with a 6-game losing streak.
It's tough.
It's tough for me to give any higher than a C grade.
Yep.
Your thoughts?
No, I don't disagree. This was a tough year for Huey Lewis. This is one of the owners that you never count out. I always wait for what the next thing is, but the same thing happens to everybody. There's only so much you can overcome.
Right. Exactly.
And when he made his moves, and they were good moves, and they just didn't work out.
Yep.
They have worked out in the past, and that's great. Sometimes it comes to an end.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to seeing him next year.
All right, moving on to the dumpster fire, who drafted 10th and finished 9th. And normally I would just say, Jordan gets an F.
That's Mrs. Kamish given the 10th spot. I think he had the 9th spot last year.
Yep.
That's not good.
So he might want to, I don't know, work something out with the Mrs. Kamish.
Right? What is happening here?
So 9th in points for, again, not good.
Yep,
that's pretty indicative of
power outage for sure.
Now, this is the one I love. 39 moves.
Trying.
That was one active owner. That was like a gerbil in the wheel, just going around and round and round.
Trying hard.
I love it. So the plus for the dumpster fire took gambles, and they didn't pay off, especially in the draft. Went with Kyle Pitts, who everybody thought was going to have a huge year.
Kyle Pitts, much like Trey Lance, a pre-draft darling of the experts.
Yep. And then the often injured DeAndre Swift, which, again, everybody knew that, but, dumpster fire took a gamble, said, hey, if he's healthy, and he's proven it. When he's healthy, he's really good.
Right.
So to me, effort was there. I think, for the most part, I looked at the draft. It wasn't bad draft at all. C+ for the
C with a plus.
with a plus because of the
Gotta have
effort.
a plus for
with
effort.
the effort.
Well done, dumpster
Yep.
fire. I know that you don't feel that way, but good job. Good job.
All right, the knucklehead. So
Let's see, do we have anyone weighing in?
yes, anybody?
Well, Sox fan 87. Going back to the previous discussion, don't let the beans fool you. He was shitting Twinkies all year.
Yeah.
So, Sox fan 7687 is trying to keep Ant humble. But you know what, Ant? You're the champ. You be you,
Yeah,
sir.
that's
this is no
exactly
time
it.
to be humble. All right, back to grades. Please.
Yeah, maybe Sox 76, 87 will maybe have some counter arguments for somebody's grade. So the knuckleheads.
Oh God! We have to talk about the.
Yeah, we do.
Oh.
You drafted 9th, but you did finish 8th, so you did one above where you drafted.
Yeah.
8th in points for.
I beat the beans. I just want that said before he goes any
There you go.
further.
There
I
you
beat the
go.
beans in the last week.
So 23 moves, active, trying.
Yeah.
I got, I guess, basically 2 words. Cam Akers and DJ Moore, round 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Those are not going to get you a championship when you're 3rd and 4th pick. Pretty much don't do, except for the last.
Cam Akers wasn't on a team for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not great.
Of course, in the last 2 weeks, DJ Moore and Cam Akers were like
They were
phenomenal.
amazing.
Yep.
Didn't Akers ended up on the beat? He's a
He's a
Akers
champion
is
now.
a BARFF champion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you had 4th highest points against. This is a recurring theme. A hard luck owner.
Everyone loves to see the knuckleheads
Yeah.
come to town.
So-
Everybody loves it.
I gave you a C.
Oh yes.
Maybe a little because you're the commissioner. I gave a
Yes.
little.
This is the most gracious C that's ever been given in the history of academics. I appreciate it.
And maybe the most egregious 3rd and 4th round picks of the draft from what I looked at.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, drafting gotta be better. Yeah.
So here's one of my favorites, the Sody Pantloads. Drafted 5th, finished 7th. One thing impressive, though, the 5th highest points for. 19 moves. But here's, similar to you, I think they got caught up in a little of the, I guess, pre-draft hype around Cortland Sutton and Allen Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Allen Robinson in particular, like what a letdown.
Yep, huge, huge letdown.
Yeah.
And those were his 5th and 6th round pick. Where do you usually need to hit somewhere, right? You need someone usually in the mid and maybe a steal at the end of the draft to really. So to me, that was the downfall. But again, the Pantloads, proud owner, battles to the end, almost made the playoffs.
You did, yeah. It came down to the wire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So B- for.
Oh, we gotta find.
We got B.
We're working those C's a lot, so we've got a B.
We're moving up the ladder.
It's got a minus, but at least we're out of C land.
That's right. We're out of C land.
Well done.
So good for you in Pantloads.
Right.
Worst team ever. Drafted 1st, finished 6th, so maybe a little underwhelming there.
Worst team ever. Here we go.
7th in points for. 20 moves. And I saw, looking at his, and maybe just say, when you pick Nyheim Hines in the draft, that alone should say how successful you're going to be. But on the plus, he took flyers. So he took Hines, he took Lazard, and then Jonathan Taylor was just, I don't want to say he was a bust, but.
How many times are we going to hear it's the first round? It's that curse. It worked out for Ant, but the Christian McCaffreys of the past, and now this train wreck with Jonathan Taylor this year.
Yeah.
Like he looked like a 300-point player coming into the year and just completely let him down.
It did. So worst team ever would have been a grade, maybe a half grade lower, but they made the playoffs, right? So
made the playoffs.
B minus.
B minus.
You made the
Another
playoffs.
B minus. There's another a B. Sox fan 7687 is weighing in that they're happy with that
look at
evaluation. And this B minus for worst team ever. Good for them. I'm sure it makes them feel better about the Jonathan Taylor situation. I'm sure.
You
know what? I was pissed about Jonathan Taylor before. But I'm good now.
But our Eeyore of our league, I'm sure he probably is not happy with Jonathan Taylor perform.
I wouldn't be happy.
So, of course, born to run, drafted 6th, finished 5th, 4th in points for. Not a bad year. A whopping 33 moves, so
That's a lot of
another very active owner. I looked at my draft and I said, I got like Stevenson in the 10th round and Walker in 12th. Amazing value in running backs.
Running back strategy turned into like the strength of your team for a good chunk, especially towards the end, was those 2 running backs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now here's where I'm harsh on myself. My arrogance of my QB situation, which I thought I had solved by stashing Deshaun Watson, and continued to live with it and not do anything about it. And if you ask me, that's probably what cost me from potentially advancing.
You gambled.
Yep.
You threw the dice. It could have worked out great. That's when you wanted to get that savior was
exactly
after that suspension, and it didn't happen.
Yeah. So, and there was a lot of good guys that went that I could have grabbed, like Lawrence. Mm-hmm. And, I'm trying to think who else. I think I had a shot at Geno at the time. So
at least you didn't pay $252 million for that garbage that's on the field right now.
Great point.
Yeah.
So I give myself a B. I think, again, making the playoffs.
Another B.
Could have won.
B.
Plus, for Born to Run.
I think that this grade, I might even creep this grade into a B+ just for the text at 11:05 last Sunday night, where you basically called the BARFF championship play. So
we had to.
That was one of my favorite moments of the season. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to block Walt's number after that one.
Right, Christian. I mean, Christian, do you hold Born to Run somewhat responsible for this after
when you see a text like that, and like I have to think like now that it's said in like the open, it's one of those things that's gonna happen. Like I had a feeling that like I have to hold him partially responsible, to take all the pressure off me making the wrong tactical decisions. So, who knows? Maybe we get an angry letter in the mail or something like that.
I love it.
Or a voodoo doll. Maybe I'll buy you, Christian, so you can jab some pins at me next year.
You can just send that mail to BARFF HQ. We'll make sure it gets to the co-host.
So let's see. Whopper Moppers. Drafted second, finished 4th. Third points forward, 26 moves. Pretty impressive.
Yep.
I mean, really, unfortunately, injuries were a killer. But with that being said, the negative for them is I looked at their from round 8th on, and what did we say? They had a weak bench.
Yep.
And that was a product of that weak drafting from that on. So that to me is, really when it ended up, it didn't cost him in the playoffs, but I think he could have had a couple more wins when he had those injuries. He'd had a better bench. So I'm giving a B for the Moppers as well.
Moppers getting to B. This is a great quote. Let's go give the Moppers their due. A B. Let's jump onto the thread.
Please.
Soxman 7687 states that Born to Run pulled a Romo, called the play before it happened, which you did, sir. Which is why I elevated you from B to B.
Yep.
And the Beans are saying that Born to Run now has a spot on one of the duck boats.
I can't wait.
And that is earned, sir.
That's outstanding.
The Moppers, Christian, I'll tell you that, and I can't look at the bracket because once I don't make it, it horrifies me to look at the bracket. But when we were heading into that final week of the season, I really thought the 2 best teams in the league, and I apologize to the Beans, and don't worry, sir, you have this and I don't. But at that time, the Beans had just lost to the Knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Whopper Moppers and no lineup needed were killing everybody. Mm-hmm. Christian, did you think you were going to see Tommy in the title game, or did you see him as your biggest obstacle to the title?
Well, most definitely. I think I talked about last week is that Tommy's team is like one of those that is like sort of like he puts up like 100 or 110 or like 170, and. Right. Looking this week, I'm kind of happy I got him the week I did, because if not, he would have like taken my team out back and told me like, look at the ducks across the lake. So, But yeah, no, I honestly like my thing. If I would have won, I really did think the 2 strongest teams were me and Tommy, as much as Ann has won the championship.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my biggest obstacle. As much as I don't want to say that in front of Walt, but I didn't really think I would have to see Born to Run in the playoffs, even if he was on my side of the bracket.
Yeah, Whopper Moppers certainly had a great run, and you look at at how they were putting up a lot of points, and the Beans lost to the Knuckleheads with a subpar performance on an off week, and then they had, respect to the Rifle, but they had an off week in their playoff win too. This was, I believe, it was 105 to 95 in the playoffs, where you could lose a lot of times.
Definitely.
And so
for sure.
So I'll give respect to Whopper Moppers. And then last week during championship week, Whopper Moppers almost hits the 200 mark. So we talked about this is tough for the no title teams because they still don't have any titles, but like they're doing great things, so we'll see.
Yeah, and the worst thing is don't look at the following week.
Yeah, right.
That'll drive you crazy.
I know, that must hurt them a lot.
Definitely.
So where are we with Whopper Moppers and their analysis and grades?
Okay, so let's see. We're at the Rifle now.
What was Whopper Moppers?
Whopper, they got a B.
They got a B.
Yep.
All right, Whopper Moppers gets a B. I'm going to tell you, I'll elevate this to a B plus, and I think you get A minus. Whopper Moppers. Back and forth to start, and then started slaughtering people.
Yeah, and you could make a good argument for that too, because they finished so strong.
And remember,
they were
those
rolling.
high spots in the draft. Those high spots in the draft hurt you just like those low spots in the draft. So you get those quick picks, and it's nice to have two. But after two, it doesn't really help you so much anymore. You got a long ways to wait before you make.
Yeah, so I think you convinced me. I'd agree with that. I think. Just going in so high, and just the amount of points the Moppers were scoring at the end.
They came on at the end.
Yep, totally agree. So the Rifle drafted third, finished third, 6 points, 18 moves. I mean, I looked at the round 6 through 10 of the draft. There was Singletary, Juju Smith. He had a nice hit on Lockett in the 11th round.
Yeah.
So I think good team. I think maybe overachieved.
Yep.
But good management. It seemed like the Rifle was making the right, decisions.
Put the right lineups out.
Yep, exactly. So, again, made the playoffs, good management. There's really nothing to be too critical. B plus for the Rifle, I think.
B plus for the Rifle.
Yep, that's another solid season.
Yeah. Just climbing the ladder, like started off and whatever, and just was climbing like a silent assassin.
Exactly.
Just moving up, and was getting a lot of love from guests on the podcast as the year went on. Like, I don't want to see the Rifle.
That's exactly it. People at the end, right?
Yeah.
How many times in the playoffs nobody wanted to face the Rifle?
Absolutely right. Yep.
All right, I'm going to go out of order just because of the way it finished. Christian, your team. You drafted fourth.
Hello.
You finished second. Second most points for 27 moves. I mean, I looked at your draft, Christian, and you had an amazing draft. You had Mahomes' 6th round. You stole Pollard in the 8th round, which is unbelievable.
Who is basically an RB1.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's really tough to be critical of you, Christian. I mean, I gave you A minus. Purely for the fact that you didn't win the championship by 1 point.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yep.
A minus, and wow, what a good year! 11-3, and it's just kind of a curse. 11-3 in the regular season, but it actually surprises me, Christian, to hear that you made 27 moves, because I really didn't see you tinkering very much. And so was a lot of that like defense, kicker, things like that, or was this just moves going under the radar?
I mean, there's a couple. So I think most of it was defense. This might be like the first year I actually did like a stream defense strategy. Okay. Usually I'm the type to hold one on and just sort of ride with it. But so I think a lot of those are defense. But also, I think the weird thing is that the weeks I streamed players were the weeks of like, I think it was like 7-9, 9-11, one of those two combinations. Because Mahomes and Eckler were out the same week, and then Tyreek
that's right.
and Tyreek and someone else was out, and I ended up winning those weeks. So I picked the players up and dropped their ass like right afterwards.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it comes back to bite me in the ass. I pick up Algiers, he wins me a week. I pick him up at the end of the season, I leave him on the bench. But yeah, it was really just like the openings in my roster. I think I essentially kept the same roster out there every week from the beginning of the
year.
That's why it surprised me, because your lineup was consistently good from the draft. A great draft, and I won't get into I think the best draft that we had, but
we'll
have to see. We're not done yet.
So I got to say, yes, I looked at the drafts closely, and Christian's, yours was very impressive. However, it's a good segue into the last one. Beans, drafted 7th and finished first. Now, drafting from the 7th spot, as anyone who's done it, is not really easy.
And where did you look? Do you have in your notes? I believe Watson really hated the Beans draft.
Oh, it did?
I think they had him really low coming out of it, and I'd have to.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question.
Ahead. I'll
on
look
that.
it up while we.
So first in points. Now here's the part I love, which tells me the strength of the draft. 14 moves, lowest of any
that's amazing.
team.
Wow.
He got Jalen Hurts in the 8th round.
Wow.
How about that? He got Miles Sanders, which, I mean, this ain't a shock. He got him in the 10th round. But talk about value.
Yeah.
He grabbed Tua in the 13th round, who ended, at one point was what, QB3 in his position or 2, whatever.
Yeah, he was
Barely played him though.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that honor, lack of honor, not playing your guy, but that's a whole different story. So to me, least amount of moves shows you how solid that draft and that bench was.
Yeah, I agree.
It's, again, Christian, I think as amazing as a draft you had, Ants might have been just a tad better. He avoided.
I agree.
Yeah, but yours was pretty impressive.
I think the Josh Jacobs pick might be the
there's
best pick in the
another
draft.
one. That's exactly it.
That Josh Jacobs pick was amazing.
Yeah, and
What round did you get him in? Like the 7th?
It may be a little earlier, but it's
he
still
was like only
exactly.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So
He was available when I drafted Cam Akers. How?
yeah.
So it looks like Watson had Boston Beans in 9th place
Wow.
after the draft.
Yeah.
So well done.
Yeah, definitely. And, and then, of course, we always nice. I think the Beans, one of the few teams that avoided any significant injuries to any players, honestly. I know Jacobs, maybe there was a few, but, most of the time.
I would look for Ant to weigh in on the chat, and if he's still live, and let us know, was there a significant injury or injuries that you dealt with during this season? Because we've said this before, that Beans aren't really dealing with the injury bug, but sometimes there's, as an owner, you've got that guy that you're like, I can't even get this guy in the lineup.
Yeah, exactly. But, other than Tua, who was getting knocked out like every other week.
If that was a fight, they would have stopped it.
Yeah,
this season.
exactly.
It's unbelievable.
So, and the last part I'll say is he got through the rough spot there.
Yep.
Navigated that, and then, just ran the table. So, A+, I mean...
An A+ right by the great prize. This is what you have earned, Beans. You have the title, and there's just no argument. There's nothing. When you have the BARFF championship, people can say whatever. You could have gotten in as the 1st seed, the 6th seed. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
You did what you needed to do, and you beat everyone.
Yeah.
So that's excellent.
I used to mock Tony's drafts most of the time. But, I mean...
He wasn't happy with his draft last year.
Yep.
He came in with a strategy that he came in this year saying, I'm not going to play games. And he hit that draft hard.
He did.
I think both of these teams in the 1st and 2nd seed, Christian and Ant, had amazing drafts, and that's what gets you there.
I mean, first points and second amount of points. It's the proof's in the pudding, as they say.
People say you can't win a championship in fantasy football at the draft, but you can lose one. I don't know. I think you can win one because these teams sure look like they...
this was the year.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yep. And so...
There you go.
That is the BARFF season. Christian, it went by in the blink of an eye for me. How about you?
Yeah, way too fast. Not gonna lie. As much as it hurt to lose, I think it was more the fact that I don't say I don't have to care, but that I watching football as much as I enjoy it. It doesn't have the same luster anymore. Watching my boys got to play, so.
I have to agree. I'm going to jump in we asked Ant to respond in the chat, and he did. His first injury problem that he lists is Tua, because that's what Ant would respond with. But he brings up a great point. Kittle was not available. And
absolutely.
If you're drafting George Kittle, you're expecting this top 1 or 2 tight end production. He did not get anything till the end of the season.
Yep.
And then D-Hop also.
Yep.
So he dealt with those injuries and those players not performing well.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think my little conspiracy theory is D-Hop not playing won him the championship. I think if D-Hop played that game, he would have lost.
It would have given him a tough choice, Christian.
Yeah,
I agree
choice.
with you because he might have put him in.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. Is I think that injury might have sealed the deal for him.
Well, it's funny you said that, Christian, because I was looking. Sometimes the lack of choices is like the best thing at the end of the season, because you got like what choices do I have? You just and sometimes that's a good thing.
Meanwhile, Christian's rocking back and forth, looking at David Montgomery and Tyler Algier. Who am I
exactly?
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I just had the wrong Bears runner. Like Fields put up 100 yards in the first half or the first quarter.
I know.
And I'm like, wow, like if only Fields was our running back. But yeah, I mean, that one's going to bite me, especially because the same way I lost to Jeff is not starting one player. I think I lost to Jeff in the championship because I didn't start like Marlon Mack, who carried me to the championship. So now I have two times to kick myself for not starting a running back. So,
well, Christian, I will say if you're going to not get the golden toilet seat, you did it in as spectacular fashion. Like came so close,
just like the Hindenburg, Christian.
Yeah,
boom,
it was so close.
It was magnificent.
Like what a great year! What an entertaining season.
That's right.
Like BARFF was better than the NFL this year. To be honest,
absolutely.
Monday night, I didn't know what was going on until a buddy of mine texted me because I was kind of checked out. Yeah, that's a great game, Buffalo in Cincinnati. But I was like, yeah, the BARFF championship was decided.
Yeah.
The Giants are in the playoffs. I have things to do. I was working on my laptop and then my text started blowing up. And I was like, but that's like, for me, it couldn't have gotten any better than Sunday night. And for our championship to be decided the way that.
Oh, yeah. I look at week 18, it's like Christian said. The luster is gone.
Now I'm going to be waiting patiently to see the stat correction, just in case.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that, people, and we'll keep everyone posted. Right now, let's celebrate and a great season, and we'll see what happens. This whole thing with the week not being over yet just leads me. That's my nature. I'm just not comfortable with it, so. We'll see.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. It's crazy. So,
hey, Christian, send a letter in or something to see if you can somehow protest.
I swear this guy got one less, two less yards. Like, come on.
Exactly.
I won't do that. I'll die on my hill on Tyler Algier's body, just standing over me.
Well, look at it as progression.
That one might be one of my worst tactical errors this year.
It wasn't that bad. You had a good matchup with Montgomery.
Great matchup. Yeah, you had a decision to make and you make it. You made great decisions all year.
Yeah, you didn't sit Ramondre Stevenson when two people told you should start him. So.
Who was that guy that you started? What's his name? Perry Strong Pet.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Strong Jr. Some guy Strong Jr. You started in the BARFF playoffs. So.
Yeah, 4 points. He was excellent.
Pierre Strong Jr. Yeah. His name was Pierre.
So
that's great.
So
good for you.
There you go, Christian. Everybody makes moves like that.
All right. So when we go off the air, Born to Run and I are going to talk about payoffs because I never know what the payouts are, and so we're going to have to.
Oh boy,
we might put that in writing.
We might need a consultant.
We're going to do the math, and we're going to get the payouts out this tonight. Christian, you'll get a double because you were regular season champ and runner up. And then the Beans, of course, will get their championship money tonight. Well earned. What a great season for everyone. I hope that the podcast season was entertaining for everyone. We gotta do some different stuff. We gotta mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
some different things. We didn't have a lot of bits and stuff, but we'll figure out what we're gonna do. We'll figure out what we're gonna do for the draft. It's time to reset.
Yeah, I'm thinking some remote locations and things like that.
That's what we talked about for this year.
Maybe we go to Chucktown.
We may have to
pack that
the
be
show
something?
up. The show can be packed in one tiny, or not tiny, but a box.
Maybe we can rent a van and start taking it on the road.
Yes, I would love to go out to various locations. That would be great. So thank you to everyone that participated.
Definitely.
I want to give a shout out to Sox fan 7687, our greatest fan and participant in the podcast. Everyone that came into the studio this year, it was terrific to see everyone. The more voices and the more faces that are seen here, the better. The chat was great. The call-ins have been great. And for me, that text thread that we have going on is got to be one of the best in fantasy sports for sure. It just, everyone has something to say.
Well, and I speak for the other owners to thank you once again for being our commissioner and running the league and organizing the podcast, because thank you.
And to give so many wins to the league is what I did. You're all welcome. Good for you. It won't happen next year. All right, Christian, thanks for calling in tonight.
All right, Christian, thank
you.
you.
No problem.
And again, one more time, runner-up, great season. And for the final time, Walt, great season.
Great season, yep.
And congratulations,
to
new
the
champion, Boston Beans. All right, that's it for us. That's the show. We head into the off season. We'll be posting pictures of draft guides when we see them. Have a great off season, people.
Yeah, everyone. Thanks.